So all the messages that were given um today, they're all different. And there's about 12 of them, if you can see. So you are message number 6. Okay. So it's completely open table for you, different from the other energy readings so far. Mm. All right. What do we have? All right, we have the 8 of Coins, the Empress, and the 9 of Wands. Mm. Okay. So this message is going to be for somebody that can resonate with the idea of working really, really hard to get to where they are. I mean, through like trials and tribulations and just like around every bend, it seems like somebody is there to cause problems, you know? Like, and you have to keep defending yourself against these problems. Like, you worked really, really hard to get where you are, and you've actually made it you've done a great job with it. We have the Moon and the King of Wands and the 5 of Wands. Right. And this isn't something that you tell people very often, but like, yeah, you're established or you're successful or it's there's this feeling of like overcoming adversity. But it feels like what you don't say is that like you struggle. Okay, this is either like you're struggling on the inside with that identification or it's like the way that people see you. What is this? Is this like disdain for pity? Like what is this feeling? Like where you fight with yourself or what bothers you is like being recognized in some way because of what you've overcome or being defined in some way by what you've overcome. Hearing like that's not what makes me me. Like you're only seeing part of it and the thing that really matters, like what I really did or what like people miss the part of you that was like how you see it is the real struggle, not was like is the real struggle. And it has something to do with like your action or your passion. Okay, or how the fire. I don't, it's almost like what the fire took away. I don't know what that has to, what the fire, what was consumed in it, what scars it left, what they see you in a very external way. Yes, you fought really, really hard. You worked really hard. You did whatever it was to get to where you are, which is in a really great place. But it's almost like they're giving you recognition for the part of your story that's not what you consider the important part. And it that really bothers you because it's almost like a disdain for pity. And it's not even that they're pitying you. It's just something about your oh, you know what? Don't tell your story. Just throwing it out there. Or maybe it's something in your story that's just so it's you have to, I guess. It feels like you have to tell the story, and whether it's your profession or it's pertinent to your like qualify, it's like your qualifier, you know? It's how you qualify. But that's not what really gets you, but that's the only thing that people see. And it kind of Page of Swords. All right, so tell me more. Page of Swords, the High Priestess. Yep. Okay, all right. So Page of Swords to the High Priestess. Well, that's like that. I do not accept that. Like that is not enough. Okay. So with the Page of Swords to the High Priestess, the answers that you were seeking or the information that you were looking for is found within. The bit that you need. The bit that you need. It's found. It is found within, and you already know it. The bit that you need is found within. Well, what's the question? I don't even know what the question is. All right, you've worked very hard. You've mastered what it is you need to master to get where you are. It was difficult. There was a lot of turbulence and trials and people that wanted to interfere. They came at you and you stood your ground. You stood firm. You took the beatings. And people see that. But it bothers you that they see that because what they don't see is they don't see the internal struggle or the severity of the internal struggle of that experience or the way that that impacted you or the scars that it left behind. There's something about you are extremely irritated. I was actually going to say that when I started this reading, which it was really funny because I was like, I'm not, I mean, like, why would I be irritated? And the bit that you need, the information you need is already known and it is within you. There's a part of this that feels very like hush hush about it. Well, like, do you ever like do you when they see you and they see what you've done and what you've overcome and like how far you've come and or they hear your story or you qualify in some respect or like do you ever stop and say, yeah, that was, this was like an incredible thing, right? But what was really impactful for me personally was XYZ. Like, does that ever, does that ever come about? Is it something that you're not really aware of, but you're just irritated that people focus on this? Is it something that you can't verbalize or something that you can't like accurately describe the magnitude? Because whatever this was, it feels like it was a very, very big thing. Like, but you feel like other people wouldn't see it as such a big deal in comparison to what actually happened. Can you give me some like specifics? Okay, so like I want to know what was the Nine of Wands? The Emperor. I've got to get a camera that goes like this. Okay, so you're telling me that you worked really, really hard to get where you are as the Empress. Like you worked and you worked through some incredibly challenging times where I said it, you just took beating after beating after beating. And when I asked what the Nine of Wands was, you told me the Emperor. Qualify your story. Okay, so trigger warning or whatever you sensitive viewers need for this. Okay, so this energy that I'm picking up on specifically is for a woman who has either overcome some sort of like intense physical abuse or domestic violence and is currently maybe speaks out again, like in some way tells her story. Because I kept coming up with qualifier, like, like in programs, you stand up and you qualify. And this gives me very much the feeling of um, qualifying. Or, I mean, you might just tell your story, or people might know your story, or whatever it was. So you endured, sorry, that was really bad. I just caught myself in the air doing that. So you endured this experience, right? This abuse or these beatings from what would have been like your other person, but the impact of it was not, I mean, that's kind of a common thing though, like the impact of this might also not have been like, okay, so let me back up. Okay, we're going to call this abuse, we're going to call these beatings, right? Any sort of abuse, right? Whether it is um, physical abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, narcissistic abuse, like whatever kind of abuse you want to call it. Okay. Like you worked really, really hard to overcome the experience, because I'm not going to use the term victim here, the experience of abuse. And it bothers you, it irritates you that it is overlooked what happened, like that what really happened, like what the damage was. And I even said fire, like the damage that this has done. Notice that this is the King of Wands, but he's got his hand over his heart chakra, right? This is hidden, the impact of this and the damage that occurred, what you still struggle with the Five of Wands internally, right, is never recognized. It's never brought, it's never illuminated with the sun. It's always in the shadows of the subconscious. It's always within there. The shadows of the subconscious. And that's when I said this right here. The bit that you need, the information is within and it feels hush hush. Okay, so you might not even be aware that the reason that when you tell your story or when you relive your story or however this manifests in your 3D environment, the reason for the irritation, right? Because you don't like really know. You can't really tell if it's irritation because you're like the people only see you for what that is. Okay, hold on. Let's for just 1 second. Okay, I don't quite remember where we were, but um yeah, it feels like a part of this is hidden from you. That irritation that comes up when people discuss it, it's like they don't understand the magnitude of it or they're missing the point, and you feel kind of weird because you can't like quite describe it, but you know it's there. I don't know what we're supposed to do with this. Like, okay, what is the advice? I know to go like to search for, to seek within. All right, so I'm hearing shadow. Man, this is gonna open up. Actually, just trust. Yeah. I trust that whatever you need is here. What shadow aspects might be beneficial to examine to find the source of this irritation? Because I don't think that it's okay. Um, we have reckless shadow. All right, so I'm going to read you all of the card. I typically don't do that for shadows, but we're going to do that here because you're actually needing to do the analysis of the shadow in order to find the source or the tidbit of information that's very deeply hidden, but you already kind of know it. So this is reckless shadow. Don't care about danger or consequences, self-destructive, turbulent, and daredevil. Careful not to slip into old patterns of behavior and response. Soul work is hard, but don't give up. I can't you possibly want me to say these things. Okay. All right. So, all right. I just read the cards. Okay. So I'm going to try to help you out the best that I can. Please do not take this like somewhere that it does not need to go. This is in like from a place of unconditional love and understanding and connection with source consciousness, cosmic consciousness. So what I'm being asked to relay here through this card and in this situation, right, is because this is a very serious situation, right? And you acknowledge that and you share your story in whatever capacity that is. It feels very much like you share your story in an effort to empower other people, right? You know, that's kind of the reason that you share your energy here is in an effort to empower others. You might not see it that way, but it's a ripple effect, right? So with the reckless shadow coming out, was there a part of you, and I'm going to do this in question format for all of this, is there a part of you that is triggered to irritation because subconsciously, and I know you've done a lot of work with this, I can feel it, like you have uncovered, but that also makes you very receptive too to possibilities of other things. This just feels kind of like, what was your side of the street here? Was there something that you didn't want to face about your own recklessness, right? As it relates to your participation in, all right, sit with this for a second. All right, so we have an energy of somebody who has been abused and now helps others or is in some way that is highlighted and they talk about it to help others. But there's something about the experience that when they are glorified in some way for overcoming it, it triggers subconscious inner turmoil because the magnitude of the situation is not what is adequately displayed here. To find the source of the irritation, we have to go within for small bits of information that your intuition knows but is not disclosing. And when I look at this and I didn't care about the danger or the consequences or self destructive daredevil, it's almost like, where was my accountability? Did I put myself in a situation, you know, did I will it? But this is a blueprint. This was a lesson of yours for this lifetime. Okay, so, all right, wow, that was a lot. One, two, three, that was three. So, three lessons or three confirmations for this was part of your blueprint, your lesson. Why? Because nobody wants to hear about that part. Nobody wants to hear about how, because they're, and that's probably why I was so hesitant to even say anything. Like, nobody wants to hear, oh God, I'm not saying that. No, nobody wants to hear about the personal accountability and the personal responsibility when it comes to putting yourself into situations that are not in your best interest, right? Now, as people who are on the path of spiritual enlightenment, or people who believe that we are incarnated here under a specific blueprint, which we design, ultimately having full control and signing off on the things that, like, we co-signed on every experience prior to coming here, right? For those individuals who are not on the path, who are not light, who do not believe in incarnation or blueprints, this concept is very, very difficult for them because they see it as, wait, are you telling me that I was a victim of this horrendous thing that happened to me and it was my fault? And the thing that came to mind that I wasn't going to say was that idea of um, sexual assault or something like that, and then there was like an excuse that played for a long period of time, like, well, look at the way she dresses, what do you think, like that type of energy. We're talking energy here, we're not talking specifics. Like that type of energy Like I'm even trying to avoid it in this read because of how sensitive that particular area is. But you and I are both aware that that is not the point of these things. If you don't believe in that, stop watching, right? Move on to something else. What you're being asked to look at here is the source of your irritation because you're not able to or not allowed to verbalize your like role in it, right? I'm not saying to come out and say, you know what, the same thing that I just told you, which is this was a part of your soul's blueprint, your design. You already co-signed on this being okay because you know it's not okay, right? But in a way, like just much like getting into the like being in a drug house and then like stepping on a crack needle or some it's crack of needles, whatever, like just like stepping on a needle and then be like, but you were barefoot in a drug house or like or use glass or something. That was a really bad example. I'm sorry. Like it's hard to convey this without being able to like just, is that the source of your irritation that you're not able to express like the full magnitude of everything? Because if we were to look at that and to say, you know what, there was I was in a place of self-destructive, turbulent, or daredevil energy, right? When I was dealing with this situation, like I was, for whatever reason, I was in an emotional place where I was beckoning it, or I was like learning, whatever your reason behind having that as an experience was, right? It feels like you're constricted in the magnitude of like how it impacted you because you're like you're not allowed to talk about it because it's taboo or something like that. Okay. Was that it? Like, was that the thing? Is it the inability to the okay, hold on. Was it the inability to speak about it? The inability to express that part? Was that it? The inability. What is the with reckless shadow? What was supposed to be highlighted in there that would contribute to the irritation? Yeah, the Hierophant in reverse. Because it's there's convention and then this would be like it's like it's against the rules. Thank you, I acknowledge the synchronicity. Thank you, goddess. Thank you, spirit. This is perfect. Yes, because you're not allowed to say those things, right? Societal expectations, appropriateness, hashtag me too, or whatever that, I don't really know what that is, but like whatever. That's why I hesitated to even talk about this. That's why I had to say trigger warning. Like I shouldn't have to say trigger warning. This is just their cards, right? Like this is energy. This is just energy, but this is exactly what it is. You are not allowed with the Hierophant in reverse. You are not allowed to talk about these things. This is unconventional in nature. This is against the rules. We have a specific guideline of what is morally acceptable and what is ethically acceptable and what you're allowed to say and what you're not allowed to say. That's what it is. It might not have had anything to do with, you know, whether you put yourself in that position or your personal accountability, right? That might not have been your shadow. That might not have been your story, which is what I was picking up of when I'm like, shit, we're going to get a whole bunch of shadows that come out from this one. There's a whole bunch of things that go into that environment. A bunch of things. But there's something about specifically your responsibility, your part in it, accepting it, allowing it to happen, being in the place when it did happen, whatever, co-signing on a blueprint while you were still in, you know, pure divinity, right? When you made this. How often do you get to talk about that, right? Like, how often do you get to say, I experienced this, right? And this is where I am now. That how often do you get to qualify and say, I recognize that I was the one that planned this out, right? That's where I was getting that feeling in the beginning where I was like, it's like you have disdain for the pity. That's where that is so fucking cool. Like, oh my God, this is amazing. They just, wow. Okay, is there anything else that I can do for this message? Is there anything else I can give or say, or is this complete? Okay, all right. I guess this is complete. So I'm gonna check the list like I do with everybody and see if this was on the list because it doesn't really. Okay, I have things that might be. The only thing that I even have that's kind of close to this would be like the idea of, or that hasn't been used. Well, okay, so I have using your wounds to control others. Excuses and blame. No. Okay, so since it's not like jumping right out at me, I'm gonna say that it is not. Unless you feel like you are unhealed from this. And if it is causing you, if it is a source of irritation, that is an indication that you're not fully emotionally fractured. Okay, well, we're just gonna leave it at that because I can't tell. Like, all right. So, um, all I have to say to this was an amazing, amazing reading. So thank you so much for sharing your energy and your story with me in this manner. And I hope that from this that you can take away like even my hesitation to express it in this way shows how closed off we still are as a society, even when what you're speaking is the truth, your truth, right? There are so many things that we don't know. All right, you are unconditionally loved and supported by the universe. My unconditional love. 330, 33, 33 every time. It's crazy. My unconditional love to you as well. Until next time, keep doing the good work, servicing the service of others. All right. Take care. Bye bye.